Hey, I'm Laurie Rivers, and I'm introducing you to Astrological Transits. Let's find out what they are and what you need to know in order to find them to make sense of what's going on in the world. So, first of all, you probably have a birth chart or you've heard of a birth chart or a natal chart. It means the same thing. The natal chart is a snapshot of the sky taken at the exact same time a person took their first breath. Now, it's first breath. It doesn't always get written down on the birth certificate like that. But first breath is when life begins traditionally on the day at the place where they were born. So it's a snapshot. It's static. It means it doesn't change. You have your birth chart your whole life. So when you hear someone say, my sun or my Saturn, that means they're talking about what we call a natal placement. That's those squiggly bits inside the pizza slices in the wheel. Every astrology chart has all 12 zodiac signs held within it, even if there's no other planets or placements. So look at that. Even though those look empty, they still have energy. And that energy is the signs. Now, if you're looking for a transit, if someone's saying Venus is retrograde in Leo, you have to look on the outside part of the wheel for where that would be. So you look outside, look at where those arrows are pointing. It's important to know how to find these spots in your own chart. So when you hear about astrological transits, you know where to look. So now you have to recognize the glyphs. I've got a little video coming up about that, and you can check that on the YouTube channel. The glyphs for the signs in order from Aries to Pisces. Each one of these are like your ABCs. And these are the planets from the sun to Pluto. All right. Now, again, there's another video for that if you need help with it. But I'm going to show you some other tricks to knowing how to recognize these signs so you can find the transits in your own, around your own chart. So, what are transits? Transit means to move. So that's the solar system right there. The planets or celestial bodies are always moving. When we're doing Western tropical astrology, we're using the Earth as the center because we live on Earth, right? If we lived on Mars, we'd be using Mars. If we lived on the sun, we'd have the sun in the center. So in Western tropical astrology, the Earth is in the center, and we look at the moving planetary bodies or celestial bodies because, yeah, we know the sun and the moon are not planets, but we look at their movements to check out the astrological weather. That just means what's going on. So again, the Earth is the center point in Western tropical astrology. We know we're not the center of the universe, okay? But our perceptions shape reality, and our perceptions are Earth-based or geocentric. We can look at the transit motions of the past, the present, and the future. Remember, I want you to understand that knowing how to find the symbols, so knowing what planet is where or what the transits are, it doesn't mean you're going to understand what they mean. It takes time and study to get really good at astrology. It's a complex subject, but the more you practice, the better you get. Transits in you. So what do they mean for you? Looking at transits in relation to your natal chart can help you make sense of why some months or years were good and some not so good. We can see the opportunities and challenges. To find a transit, it's easier to use an app that you can trust. For beginners, I suggest astro.com or astroseek.com. As a professional, I have special software that I use when I read my clients' charts. You want to choose to see a natal chart with transits when you go to select what kind of chart you're looking at. These transits always show on the outside of the natal wheel. Remember when I had you look out on the outside of the wheel for the signs? So the transits are outside of those. Here's a couple of examples. This is a wheel from AstroSeek. So you can see on the outside above those signs, you can see where the transits were. And you'll also get a handy dandy little table that gives you the glyph or symbol with the name and what the birth placement is and what the transit place is. Notice they're in different colors to make it easier for you to see things. It still may not make a lot of sense yet, but you're on the right track. Now, if you're using astro.com, the layout's a little different. They give you, in one of their chart versions, you'll see that everything outside of this wheel is green. Those are the transits. And in the interior part on the little chart, you'll see the symbol and the name of the body, the planetary body, or the luminary, the sun and the moon. You'll see in blue, it's the birth chart, and in green, it is the transit. Don't worry about all the geometric shapes just yet or the lines until you understand what these things really mean, not just what somebody did say on YouTube, not even me, till you get a little more research in. Don't worry about everything else. Just learn these symbols and what's in your chart and what's going on outside of it. Now, once you start recognizing what things are, I don't want you to panic. Don't hit the panic button, guys. It happens too much. When I'm doing live streams, too many people are freaking out because there's a bunch of content creators who talk about astrology and they like to freak you out. You don't need to be freaked out. Once you find the transits on the outside of the wheel, don't assume the worst. Worst case scenario is not synonymous for realism. Okay. Having a positive outlook is not delusional. Okay. Those two, people mix that up way too much. There can be good stuff with any transit. Even if you've heard doomsday or negative predictions, that doesn't mean it's true or real, especially for you. It could be a good thing for you. It takes a long time to be fluent in astrology. It's a complex language. Start by learning how to find where the moon is transiting because it changes signs every 2.5 days, about 54 hours. And if you're in my Awake Space Patreon, you can follow along my weekly horoscopes where I do the live stream and I talk about how the moon is reflecting what's going on in your life depending on what house it's going through in your birth chart. And remember, the houses are those slices of pie. You can keep following and subscribing to me here on YouTube, or you can join me in my Patreon at patreon.com/The Awake Space. And everybody who joins my Patreon gets the Astro Guides for free. These are a great way to start learning a little more in depth when you're a beginning astrologer. So, for more astrology resources, classes, and discounts on readings, check out http://snipfeed.co/astrology, or to book a reading or register for a workshop, you can go to wokeastrology.com. I'm Laurie Rivers, and I love teaching you astrology. I hope this helped make sense of how to find your transits and what they are.